1977. I think it was the kicking off point that was most memorable because it came together so quickly after a small group of brothers sat down and talked about some needs we had for recreation that weren't possible, and quickly then put together the Murray Schoolyard Classic in Hyde Park. We also teamed with a gentleman, Alan Smith, who was the head of Direction Scholarship Foundation, so that in addition to the opportunity for having a recreation in the basketball tournament, we also were able to provide some financial assistance to needy students who wanted to move on to college. So that was 1977. And in that year, there were only 8 teams that participated. It was a single elimination tournament, so it was all done in 2 weekends. But the stands were filled, the playground was filled, and we got so much feedback from parents and the local businesses that were there that we did not know that this would take off, and for the next 20 years between Murray and Kenwood High School, we would have the success that we did.
You used to wake up in the summer thinking about the Y.V.I. just to get up there, man. Just, you know, it was like the plan for the day. That's what you was gonna do. You know, I used to love getting on the microphone and commentating them games and get to talk about people, you know, and oh man, we just used to have a ball. So memorable moments, you have to say that just sharing the time up there with Gary and them, man, that some good older brothers that you know looked out for us, man, you know, kept us out of trouble and gave us something to do for the summer instead of hanging around, man, finding trouble find you when you ain't got nothing to do. So you know, they giving us something to do. So like I say, it was something to wake up to, man. You used to, and then when it was over and you was going back to school, man, couldn't wait for the summer to come again just for the Y.V.I. tournament.
Y.V.I. come as you are, championship party. If you're 21 or you got your Symphony ID, you can go get your Symphony ID on 63rd and High Street if you want to come. Win tonight. Helen's Showcase Lounge, 1300 East 75th Street.
I was with the founding fathers, Bob Curry, Sid Smith, Fred Smith, Gary Wilson. Was even the tournament director one year. And had pee-wee, biddy teams, high school teams, since the inception. Played ball out at Murray, and was standing around with the fellas when the conception came up to let's throw a tournament. And Sidney Smith and Bob Curry and Gary Wilson instrumental in getting that together. And from there it just took off and grew.
That was like the thing during the summer in the 80s, you know, like now there's really nothing, you know, really. I mean, it's cool watching the Big Three on TV though, but far as like for Chicago, it's really not, it's not there, you know. It's like in the 80s, Y.V.I. was the spot because right there at the corner, right there on Lake Park, 51st, people get off the bus back when it was super transfer era. Folks get off that number 6 or 28 and they see what's going on. They walking over there seeing some good basketball, Chicago style.
It was ball players all from all over the city. And you know, the one thing that stuck out to me was the different trends and flavors that they brought to the Hyde Park community. I was able to absorb a lot of swag being a kid growing up in the Y.V.I. just by the different ball players coming from the Wild Hundreds, the West Side, Columbus Park, you know, Jackson Park, the low end, and I got to absorb all that, you know what I'm saying, because I was a curious kid, you know, I was checking out everything, so.
And Chicago has started having a lot of the number 1, 2, and 3 in the country high school players in our, coming out of Simeon and over there in Inglewood and places like that, man, Hyde Park. They had some good hoopers coming out of Chicago.
Oh, the Murray tournament meant, to me, it was something for us to do in the summer because they basically pushed everybody from 53rd and Lakeshore, South Shore Drive to Murray, and we was like, man, we want to watch some people play, but there was so many people out there, they had to make a tournament, so when they made this tournament, it gave us an outlet to go and watch the older guys play and learn from them and develop later and try to emulate the moves that they did, and that was big to me. That was really big.
Bob and I sat down think it was 1976, and said we want to do some things in the community. And that's where it started. Stop people on the streets and ask their opinion about it. Then the footwork started. Going to the alderman, at that time was Lawrence Bloom, and this local businesses, which there were a lot of black businesses at that time that we went to. So, and we went from 1976 to 1993. One of the notable tournaments was rain day. We were out in Murray, and we had to move that championship game here to the Hyde Park Neighborhood Club. It was cement floor at that time, and I think the score went up to 144 to 140. Tim Menifee played. He was 6'11" from the west side. It was Donnie Von Moore, who went down to Kansas to played for Kenwood, then went to Kansas to play. Linwood Heron, Squirty, these guys were West Side Park guys, played against the West Side. So that was memorable to me. Raymond Capon Davis, who played 3 years at Hell's Franciscan. Arnie Duncan played in the tournament. John Rogers played in the tournament.
Juwan Howard, Isaiah Thomas, DeMarcus Wise, Tim Hardaway, Nick Anderson.
Oh, the Duckworth brothers. Duckworth. Yeah, they got out a small car, and that car lifted up.
Vertus Robinson, Marcus Liberty, Ace.
Dave Howe. Dave Howe, without a question. And Brian Leach. Brian Leach. But if you ask me the one person that I would say it should be the league, right, Dave Howe, without a question.
And shout out to Dave Howe, one of the coldest brothers I ever seen step on the court.
David Howe, man, this boy could play basketball. I mean, it was just natural to him, you know. So, and he was one we thought would, you know, do something and go somewhere.
David Howe.
#1 cornbread, my cousin David Howe, the legendary, the great one. Didn't play freshman, sophomore, junior year, averaged 34 points for DuSable senior year. The real thing, you know. So ain't no doubt about David Howe.
David Howe is one of the reasons I wanted to be good at basketball. And when Michael Jordan and them was playing in North Carolina, Patrick Ewing in Georgetown, and I knew Dave Howe was playing here in the neighborhood club, or was playing at Revers, or was playing at Shoesmith, or was playing at the Y.V.I., I was going to watch him play because he was tangible to me. I could touch him.
Dave Howe, man, he was like the coldest god in the city, man. I used to drive on the tryouts. Then you had Bees, you had Ace. Man, you had a lot of good guys at Hyde Park that had ugly talent.
George Montgomery.
Jamie Brandon.
There was a guy by the name of Robert Kelly. There was a guy by the name of Michael Duncan. There was a guy by the name of Tony McCoy.
Ben Wilson, I was calling the game. At the time, I didn't know his name, but the man was putting in work. So I used to always just say, there go that man, there go that man. And he put on a show. And afterwards, I talked to him, and I was like, how old are you? He was like 15. I was like, oh my God. And he put in work. And when I seen him about maybe a couple weeks later, he went to the Nike camp up there in Jersey. He was the #1 player in the nation.
Tim Hardaway, Laurent Crawford, you know, Jamie Brandon, Johnny Melvin, Mike Nance, Jig Nance, hey Essa, my big bro. I mean, we just did our thing every year.
We had a guy by the name of Parker, whose son now is playing in the pros, Tony Parker. His father played in the tournament. It was good seeing him come out and play.
Daryl Liberty.
Tim, old Tim Hardaway. And you used to see that boy playing, you just knew he was like lightning, man. He was really fast, you know. He would be standing there dribbling with the ball with you and then just boom, and be gone, laying up the ball.
My brother John Nance.
My favorite player was Tracy Dildy, of course. You know, he was all flash. And I adapted to his game, you know, from the Y.V.I. But, you know, I like the Tim Hardaway. I like the Tim Bengtson, another one of my favorite players. We had neighborhood cats like David Howe, another one of my favorite ball players, you know.
Sherrod Arnold. It was some legendary players up there that put in some work.
Oh man, when my high school team played in the championships game against legendary Coach Tree, played against Lamone Lampley, went on to DePaul, Andre Banks, who came Big Ten Iowa, and my boys were from the West Side. And because I ran the gym at Columbus Park, so I brought my boys from West Side. So that was 3 years in the making. It wasn't like overnight. They got their butt kicked the first year, second year, but that last year we made the run through the tournament and didn't come up, came in second place that year. So that was.
When Gary and them would be painting the court, we'd be waiting for that paint to get dry. We excited about the upcoming tournament. You know, there's no most memorable moment. Every year is the most memorable moment.
It was a lot of talent in the neighborhood, man. That's what made the tournament so spectacular, man. There used to be some great games up there. I remember Tony McCoy. That was another one. Tony McCoy. He jumped over a guy and dunked on him. I'm talking about jumped over the dude. Tony coming down court, the dude stopped like he gonna take an offensive foul. Tony went up and I mean just floated straight over him and boom. I mean his feet hit his shoulders and went over.
Like watching Tim Hardaway go at it with somebody when they had the old school bike shorts with the pockets on them. I don't know what the hell Tim had in his pockets, but he had a lot of stuff in his pockets, but he was, you know, doing his thing.
You know, it was never no serious problem issues like today's issues. You know, it's a little different than back then, man. And we was able to have them basketball tournaments with no incidents or anything taking place, man. You know, so today it's a little different.
I ask myself sometimes, was our part of the demise of the Y.V.I. because in the later years, when it moved into the 91, 92 era, I wasn't a participant of the Y.V.I. And I can remember one Saturday morning, actually the tournament was going on, and I was walking past it, and it was just an odd feeling to be actually walking past the Y.V.I. and not being a part of it, you know, playing or watching the games. I was always like that first kid there and the last kid to leave. So when it got like in the 91, 92 years, I wasn't a part of it. So, you know, when I started running tournaments, I asked myself, was I one of those people that gave up on a thing that was really good in the community?
It felt like a void in my life, man. Because, yeah, I would look forward to it, even coming back home from college and everything. You always look forward to the Y.V.I., man. And when it was over with, it just felt like a void left in High Park and in basketball in Chicago. Because everybody came from all around the country to play in there, like Rutgers. Came around here. So when it felt like a part of my soul for being a basketball player was gone.
Oh, I was heartbroken, man. We didn't know what we was gonna do. We was heartbroken, you know, and it was like a piece of the community, a piece of our heritage. We have been doing it for like 17, 18 years, every year, growing up with it. Now we grown and we trying to pass it on to the next generation, and you know, they stopped it. So when it stopped, it was heartbreaking to us. It was very heartbreaking, and we wanted to do something about it. We would love to see it back again. That would be great if we could ever bring that back again with the same quality that it had then. No, that's the only thing, man. If we could have that tournament again, but it had that same quality, cause that tournament, that was quality tournament, man. It was quality. Not just quantity, a bunch of people. It was quality, man. We had the best hoopers in the city.
Man, I miss it a lot, and I think that they should bring it back. You know, I miss it a lot. We still got our family unity, but we need that back over in High Park again.
I felt bad because the guys that had it wasn't able to groom somebody to keep it going, and it took basketball out of High Park. After that, basketball was basically abolished in High Park. It wasn't no Murray to hoop at because they took the rims down. They took everything down to Kosminski, Shoesmith, Revis. So after the tournament, there wasn't nowhere else to hoop. So it was a lot of trouble to be got in by these young folks. And it really affected me because it's something that I grew up watching and I was able to participate in it. And it really helped me as a basketball player coming up. I mean, you know, developing and watching.
I was hurt, crushed. I thought it would go forever. I thought I was hurt. I'm still hurt. But I'm glad we doing what we doing today to remember what it used to be and trying to let people know back in the day how we used to get the young brothers together playing basketball, keeping them out of trouble, keeping them off the streets. You know, but it was good when I brought.
Most of the people that made their way to NBA, they stepped their foot on that floor, that ground, Y.V.I.
Just the end of Y.V.I., it was the end of street basketball as we know it in Chicago. And so that hurts because today's generation don't get to feel that joy of playing in front of their friends and, you know, just going at it hard on the streets, man. Wasn't nothing better. AAU and all the things they do today could never compare. You know, your goal was to get to Y.V.I. and play against the best from all over the city. And it didn't matter whether you was All-American, All-City, All-State. That meant nothing to nobody, not at all. And so I just hate to see, as I coach and mentor kids today, that they going to get to experience that here in Chicago.
I just remember certain stories like watching the Liberties in the Crip line, that one rim close to the Kenwood that was real low. Man, they was doing everything but dunking the ball, but it was, you know, they was coming through and just looking in the rim and just everything but dunking it, just, you know.
For me, Y.V.I. meant for 6 weeks in the summer, July and August, my wife would be mad at me because I always be out there. Either I was coaching bitty teams, little guys who just wanted to play, put them on a team. I was driving from Hyde Park to the west side to bring my high school boys back. If not, I was reffing the bitty teams. One year I was the tournament director, and it's, you know, go to work and then come immediately at work and to be out there until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm talking about folding up the chairs, taking the tables back in, and then getting up the next morning, bringing that stuff out, setting it up. But it was a labor of love, man. I loved it.
Just the whole atmosphere, man, and how these young men brought a community together to give us young men somewhere to, you know, aspire and to play ball and to have a good time and enjoy each other and fellowship and things. So
Y.V.I. was one of the key components that curved my life, the vision to navigate through the rough streets of Chicago, and instead of ending up somewhere I didn't belong, I ended up playing college ball.
Always a positive experience. These brothers were always positive, stood for youth vision, integrity. You know, when it first started, I wasn't no ball player. I used to fight people every day. So one of the reasons what started me to liking hoop. This and my brother inspired me, and, you know, went on to go to Crane and hoop and play overseas, went to Midland, Odessa, and, you know, so basketball then kind of saved my life in a lot of respects.
And I appreciate this interview stuff too, man. This is awesome, man, for y'all to come back and show a tribute to that right there, because that was black unity, and we really need that. Not only was it black unity, but it was like multicultural unity, you know what I'm saying, in Hyde Park, and it represented something that's not always represented, you know, in Hyde Park area. So I appreciate this.
That creation of Y.V.I., it curtailed a lot of us from negativity and kept us on the positive track. Like Lefty, everything he does in the game of basketball is derived from the springboard was the Y.V.I. The Y.V.I. was still his platform, and they most definitely changed the youth in our community and gave us a vision and to operate in integrity.
One day, a neighborhood bully took my basketball and basically held it hostage for the whole day. I won't say his name because I ain't gonna put. Well, actually, I'll put him out there. Man, his name Frankie Parker. Frankie Parker, man, he took my ball, man, and he held it hostage. He was a little guy. He was a neighborhood bully at the time. You know what I'm saying? He was older than us, but he was pretty much a little cat, so he was our same size as the younger guys. And the guy took my ball and held it hostage and for a long time. And then one of the Y.V.I. founders, or one of the coaches, his name Monty from the West Side, he actually came over there and chased Frankie Parker away, and then told me to go home, and if I go home, he'll give me a uniform. So I ran home that day, and later on the next day, I was the first person there, and they seen me and gave me a uniform, and it was pretty much the rest was history. I was part of the culture, and I ain't looked back ever since. To this day, I'm still running basketball tournaments just like I seen in the Y.V.I. The Y.V.I. was real important in my life, as you can see, because today I'm still mimicking what I was brought up in through those guys, Gary and Bob and Ralph and Fred and Sidney and the rest of those guys, man.
From the first day of Y.V.I. to the last day of Y.V.I., I was there. We was all there, and Y.V.I. for life, baby.
So you can film the whole thing all the way around the track. Let it show. All the way on the track. Pull it tight, pull it tight. Pull it tight. Red with the ball, pass over to number 5. 5, steady step, up, shot, hip, it's in.
These are the hard-working people at the table.
46 seconds left to go in the half. Number 12 with the ball. Going to the hoop, strong left hand move. 5, 4, 3, 2. Stalling back down. Here comes Adidas. Number 9 drive. Young move is in. The 10 with the ball. Do his leg, dribble going to the hoop. Shoots it up, and it's good. A 1-point lead.
We are the best.
5, around the back dribble. Almost ripped. Turn around jumper, and it's good. For 1.
Trying very well, but they're making silly fouls. But it should be a good one along the stretch.
Rebound. Around the back, loses it. Stone Fox with the ball. 5, pushing it to the hoop strong. Right hand off, left hand. Toby's not here today.
Okay, now look at her.
Sherman English.
Okay.